Wednesday. We are going to go over what it takes to actually get what you want. That's what I want to talk about in today's video. This morning I woke up and I didn't feel like it, right? I woke up and I was thinking like, I don't really feel like doing anything today. And it just got me thinking, that combined with what was happening in terms of my Uber drivers, right? And I'll talk about them in just a second. We're going to see who's going to hop on. But I woke up today and I thought to myself, like, you know what? I don't really feel like it. Like literally today, I was just thinking, I just don't feel like it, because yesterday, I went to sleep past my bedtime. It was like 10 o'clock. It was late as all hell. I'm like, man, whatever, right? So I wake up and I'm like, man, I'm tired as all hell. I don't feel like doing anything today. And technically, I could have done nothing today. And that just got me thinking. I was going to talk about something else today in terms of just pitching, just like how to pitch. I was going to do that, but this is way more important. So we got to talk about this stuff. What's up, everybody? What up, Wani? What up, Maggie? What up, everybody? All right, so this is what I want to talk about, is basically just what it takes in order to get what you want. It was like the past 4 or 5 Uber drivers that I had. All of them basically wanted to start a brand. They either had a brand or wanted to start a brand. They wanted to do like some online stuff, and all of them wanted to do podcasts, or they had a podcast, right? And every time I talk with somebody when it comes to something like that, I just ask them questions about what they're doing. Like, oh, so what's your podcast about? How are you marketing it? How are you getting the word out? How much revenue are you producing from it? I ask them all sorts of questions about it. And the reason is because I keep wondering, what's the difference? What's the difference between the guys who actually make it happen and everybody else? And I keep wondering that, because every time I talk with people, it's always the same thing. It's like everyone understands the skeleton of what it takes to succeed. Everyone understands, let's say, sales funnels. They understand the skeleton, the basics of what it takes. Everyone does. And like everyone who has studied for a little bit, they understand it. But then there's only a few who actually make it. And that's what I really want to go over today. What up, everybody? What up, Dan? What up, Maddie? What up, Sean? McBride? All right, cool. What up, Paul? What up, peeps on Instagram? So that's what we're going to go over today. Like I said, so 2 of the Uber drivers that I recently had, they already had a podcast, and they were doing it for a little over a year. Both of them were doing it for a little over a year. And as I'm talking to them, I'm just asking them a ton of questions about their podcast and all that, but they weren't actually generating any revenue from it. And then there's one of them, one of the guys out of the 4, he was just starting. So he was like just starting. And then another one was thinking about it. So he had like a therapy business. He was thinking about producing all the content. And I just kept asking myself, what's the difference between these guys and then someone like Joe Rogan, who just has like the #1 podcast, right? Or just anybody who's successful at anything. And that's basically what I keep thinking about. And I keep coming back to this quote by Sun Tzu from The Art of War. He said this, he said, all men can see these tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is a strategy out of which victory is evolved. When I talk to people always ask about the tactics and the techniques. And it's never about the tactics and techniques. It's always about what's going on inside of here. Everyone gets that. Everyone understands this. It's a mindset thing. Everyone understands that on some level. It's a mindset thing. But when you have nobody to compare yourself to in terms of the mindset, you don't realize what level you need to operate at to get what you want. Everyone understands it's about mindset. Very few people understand the level they need to operate at to accomplish what they want. That's what you have to truly understand. That's what we're going to go over today. All right, let's see. Kathy in the house. What up? Ari, what up, Rich? Say Uber drivers are the new waiters, waitresses waiting for their big break. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So that's what I want to talk about. So for those of you who jumped on late, the quote again by Sun Tzu, it says, all men can see these tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is a strategy out of which victory is evolved. So yesterday, and a few days ago, like I'm taking Uber, I'm talking with all these guys. They all want to build a brand, all of them building a podcast, creating a podcast. Yesterday I was at this magic convention, a mentalism convention with these mentalists. I was talking with some people, and we were talking to a few of the people I was talking about marketing stuff, and a lot of them understood essentially the basics of what they need to do. But as I talk with people, what I'm actually looking for when I talk with people, I'm looking for what's going on inside of their brain. I'm like, I don't want to say I'm ignoring what people are saying, but I'm paying attention to how they think, right? And so that's what I'm really paying attention to when people talk. And it just keeps making me think, what's the difference? People don't realize that it is possible to fail. It is possible. Not only is it possible, most people fail. It is not negative to say most people fail or it's possible to fail. It is not negative. It is a simple fact. You have to separate yourself from everyone who's going to fail so you don't. All right. I don't know why people don't talk about it's possible to fail. I have absolutely no idea why. I think everyone just thinks they're being negative if you say it's possible to fail. Everyone thinks they're being negative. It's not being negative to understand that it's possible to fail. It is just not being negative. It's a simple fact. So you have to get that through your brain that it's possible to fail. And if you keep going on doing what you're doing, you probably will be in that percentage of people who fail. You have to change everything in your life to be that 1% who actually makes it. You can't keep continuing the way you are doing what you're doing if you want to accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish. All right? It's just understand that. I mean, so many people they think it's negative about this failure stuff. It's not negative. You just want to ask yourself, like, am I doing what it takes to succeed? That's pretty much what you want to ask yourself. This is where, if you watch athletes, you can really see the difference between someone like Kobe and everybody else in the NBA. Well, when Kobe was in the NBA, you can see the difference between these two, or someone like Jordan and everybody else in the NBA. You can see the difference, or someone like Tom Brady and everybody else in the NFL, or someone like Tiger Woods and everybody else. Well, back when Tiger Woods was insanely good, right? And everybody else, right? So you can see the difference when it comes to competitors like that. You can't see the difference in business. And I was talking about this with someone yesterday. You can't see the difference in business because all the real competitors, the ones who are really good, really smart, just like insanely ambitious, all these guys, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, all these guys who are on a whole different level than most people, they hide how ambitious they are. It's why they're so quiet. They hide all that rage, that anger, that competitiveness, the ambition. They hide all that so you can't see it. And so you have nothing to compare yourself to. All you hear from them are things like work hard, but you don't know what that actually means. And so you don't actually see how hard they work. Whereas with athletes, you can see how hard Kobe works. You can see, I mean, there's really cool stories on Kobe. You can see that this dude, I think it was like either 1,000 or 2,000 shots a day that he would make. No matter what, you hear stories like there was this one NBA player, the Chicago Bulls, they were going to play the Lakers, right? And so one of the players knew that Kobe was, obviously, he's got to play Kobe, like the best in the league, right? And so he's saying to himself, you know what, before the game, I'm going to practice like way ahead of the game. I'm going to practice, like, let's say the game's at 6 or 7. He's going to go there at 3 and start practicing because he's like, man, I gotta stay on top of my game. I'm going against Kobe, right? So he goes to the gym. Lo and behold, someone's in the gym. Just so happens it's Kobe Bryant. Kobe's shooting already in a sweat, drenched in a sweat. This guy's like, huh. So he goes, he starts shooting. He's working out for an hour and a half. And he's like, all right, cool, I'm done. Kobe's still shooting, still shooting, still doing his thing, still practicing. The guy sits there for another 30 minutes just watching Kobe, just sitting there just watching. He's like, dang, when's this guy going to stop, right? So he's just watching Kobe. Then he just leaves. He's like, dang, I don't think he's ever going to stop. So he just leaves. And then he comes back and they play the game. And after the game, goes up to Kobe, he says like, hey, man, yeah, I mean, I saw you in the gym earlier. Like, why do you work so hard? I mean, like, why were you practicing like that? And Kobe said, he's like, well, I saw you going to the gym. Like, I saw you guys come up, and I wanted to show you that no matter how hard you work, I'm going to work harder. And so he wants to show people that. So it's very obvious in terms of competitiveness with athletes. Like, it's very obvious when you see, hey, Kobe's actually working way harder than this guy, right? Or Jordan's working way harder than this guy. It's very obvious. But in business, you cannot see it. What you see is a guy like Joe Rogan or whoever, they come out with a podcast. You see that podcast episode, the 1 hour episode. That's all you see. What you don't see are the 6 hours that went into the 1 hour to produce that, right? So you don't see all that. You don't see the back end. You don't see what they're really, really doing because all that is hidden from you. So you have to operate on a whole new level than what most people are used to in order to get what you want. It's just a matter of the hard work. You just got to ask yourself in terms of, what are you doing on a daily basis, right? This is why, like, when I started the online brand, I sent email every single day. I wanted to show people like, hey, I mean, I just work hard enough to where it's like I'm sending email every single day, right? There is no off button on me. And so you got to get to that point. It shouldn't be a word to you. It shouldn't be like hard work. It shouldn't be one of those motivational quotes. Most people, they look at motivational videos, motivational quotes on Instagram, whatever, and they feel good about themselves. You have to understand that motivational quotes aren't enough to succeed. It's not about a motivational quote, motivational video. You have to live that life instead of read about it. You can't sit there and read about it and say, oh, that's cool, I feel great. You have to live that life, right? So what does it take to actually succeed? What does it take? It takes everything. Everything in your life, every part of your brain, it takes everything. This is why you hear a lot of people talk about sacrifice and all that. It takes everything. You need to understand that. You need to start reading about people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these guys. Start reading about them. Start looking at athletes like Kobe and see what it is they did to get to where they are, to be the best. Because it's going to be really hard to see that with a lot of business people unless you read biographies about the big timers like Jeff Bezos and all them. But I guarantee any one of your idols that you like who aren't like on that level, like Jeff Bezos or whatever, let's say they're somewhere in the middle, but they're still pretty successful. Any one of those people, you can't see the hard work that they do. You simply can't see it. All you see is the end result. And you'll hear them say things like, yeah, hard work. You'll hear them say things like that. But once again, you can't see it. And so you don't understand how hard working that person is. Like in the beginning, when I was trying to get hired just as an entertainer, all I literally did was send emails every single day in and day out. I did nothing else. I just sat there and said, all right, day in, day out, I'm going to just cold email people. I hated it all day. I'm just like, let me cold email anyways. I did that for a minimum of a year. I mean, just years straight, like hands down, years straight. No Saturdays, no Sundays off. Didn't really matter. Just sent out emails, purely obsession mode, right? And that's the level that you have to operate at, all right? You can't just look at motivational quotes and just say like, oh, I feel great. You have to live that life, right? And this is where you hear people talk about commit. You got to commit. And I remember when I was hired by Aflac, and their logo, their slogan for that event was all in, like go all in, right? And I thought like, dang, that's brilliant. Like, I mean, I actually changed a part of my presentation to use the words all in from that moment forward because I just liked it, right? Because it's true. You have to commit to a point where you sacrifice, right? Creating a dream means sacrifice. It means that whatever you're doing now, you sacrifice it so you can do this thing to accomplish your dream. That's what that means. That's what commitment means. See, Paul said true success could be going from a signature to an autograph, just maybe. Yep. Yeah, so it's like the whole commitment thing. It's why people say the zero excuses, right? When you're truly committed, there literally are no excuses whatsoever for why you don't have what you have or obstacles, all that stuff. It's zero excuses. You're so committed to it that it doesn't matter what pops up, what comes in your way. It simply doesn't matter. You go all in and you figure it out. All right. This is what it takes to get what you want. And like I mentioned, the daily emails, right? When I committed, I decided to build the brand. And in the beginning, by the way, when I was building the online business, I sent out an email once a week or maybe even like once every other week because I was thinking like, oh, that's enough. I mean, people are going to get tired of me sending out emails. That's a lot of emails once a week or once every other week. Oh my goodness, they're going to get tired, right? But I looked at these other guys who were doing 8-9 figures. I don't actually know how much they were doing. I know they were doing a lot, but I looked at what they were doing and they were sending out daily emails. And I said, One, that's going to take a lot of work to send out daily emails. Like, you got to come up with the idea. Like, what am I going to say every day? You got to write the email. I'm like, dang, all right, cool. But I sat there and I said, well, if it's working for them, let me do it. So I simply committed to send out daily emails. Like, let me send out a daily email to the list. No matter what happened, whether I wanted to or not, whether I had an idea or not, I sent out a daily email just because I committed to it. It simply didn't matter. It's like how earlier today, I woke up and I didn't feel like it. I was just like, you know what? I just don't feel like it. Maybe I'll just send an email out to the list. There's no Facebook Live today. That's literally what I thought. And then I thought to myself, like, nope. I got to do it anyways. That's the level that you have to get to where even if you don't feel like it, you're so committed to it that you do it anyways. A lot of people, actually fitness trainers, are really good when it comes to training in the gym with this, right? So most people, when they say I'm going to get fit or whatever, they say, all right, I'm going to go to the gym 3-4 times a week. Then before you know it, they stop going to the gym. Whereas a lot of fitness trainers, they tend to do the exact opposite. They understand. They'll wake up like, I don't really feel like going. Then they'll go anyways, right? Or it's late at night. They're tired. Like, I'm tired. I don't really feel like going. And then they go anyways, right? A lot of fitness trainers are really good at that. And then you have to take that and adapt it to every other aspect of your life. Not just going to the gym if you're a fitness trainer, not just one aspect. You take that thing, that mindset of I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyways, and you push that into every other aspect of your life, right? That's the state of mind that you have to be in. When I mentioned the sacrifice, the sacrifice is what most people aren't willing to do. The sacrifice is where people are going to ask you to go out, party all the time. People are going to just do all kinds of things, right? You won't have as many friends as other people. People are going to call you weird, crazy. They're going to secretly think that you're not normal. All that's going to happen. Every single piece of that's going to happen if you are sacrificing for your dreams. Everything like that's going to happen. I guarantee it, 100%. But it shouldn't really matter to you, because you understand that when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to sit there and say, I wish I would have done this. You know that other people are going to do that. You know other people are going to be like, oh, dang, I wish I would have went after my dream. I wish I would actually have that podcast. I wish I would have started to build the brand. I wish I would have done this, right? You won't have that because you would have done everything to get that. So you have to understand that when you sacrifice, your life will not be the way it is right now. It simply won't. Whatever time you wake up right now, maybe you got to wake up earlier. Whatever you do at 11 a.m., whether it's eat, whatever, it won't be like that if you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You won't sit there and your life just won't be the same. The time that you work out at, maybe that's going to change. The people you talk to, everything has to change to get what you want, right? You have to operate on that level. So I took this quote from Felix Dennis, right? Felix Dennis, he's the guy who started Maxim magazine, among other magazines. By the time he died, he was almost a billionaire. Hold on a second. Let's see. He said, my bud was at the gym here in L.A. the other night at midnight, and who does he see working out? J-Lo and A-Rod. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like, so celebrities actually, despite celebrities coming across as like dumb or whatever, some of them coming across as dumb, in order to stay at the level of someone like A-Rod and J-Lo and all these celebrities, and not saying they come across as dumb, but in order to stay at that level, you have to outwork everybody. It's just a fact. Like, I guarantee you, anyone who talks about J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, I guarantee you'll hear stories about how hard she works. Like, oh, she outworks everybody. A-Rod was probably the same way. And it's like, oh, yeah, when he was doing baseball and stuff, dude outworked everybody. It's one of those things where I guarantee you they don't want to be there at midnight. They don't want to work out at midnight, but they have to. They know they have to. They're willing to sacrifice everything else. They just do it because they understand the dream that they want to have, whereas other people are like, nah, I got to do this. Oh, yeah, it's just one night I can go out and party. Yeah, it's just one night I can do this. Oh, it's just one night I can go out and drink or whatever. And so people just aren't willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to sacrifice. And I want to get to this quote. So the quote is from Felix Dennis, the guy who created Max Magazine and all the other stuff. He said, "The vast majority of you are far too nice and comfortable and sensible." And he was saying that like in terms of actually making your dreams happen. He's like, the vast majority of you are far too nice. And what he meant by that isn't that you want to be mean to people. He's not saying that. What he's saying is that being nice means that you're going to do things that go against your dream. So people are going to say, "Hey, let's go out. Let's meet up. Let's have a little meeting or whatever." You're going to be like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." Right? What Felix Dennis is saying, your answer should be no. When people say, "Hey, let's meet up. Let's have a chat," you're like, "No, I ain't got time." It's just like that. Sure, you may come across as an a-hole at times, but you're so locked in on your dreams that you don't care about being nice. And I was even talking about this with my mom the other day, where she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go out to eat," because it was my brother's birthday. What is today? The 20, yeah. So it was my brother's birthday yesterday, and so they were like, "We're gonna go out to eat." It was him, the girlfriend, their parents and stuff. And my mom, like, she didn't want to pay for everybody because she doesn't have like a gang load of money and stuff. So she didn't want to pay for everybody. And so I just told her, I was like, "Well, just tell them like, I'm paying for me and Daniel, but I can't pay for you guys. You guys got to pay for yourself." And she said, "I can't do that." He said, "Oh, that'd be kind of rude and stuff." And I was thinking to myself, like, why? Like, I mean, if you don't have a lot of money and you tell people, "Hey, I can't pay for your food," to me, that's not being mean at all. Like that's just being real. That's just like, "Hey, man, I ain't paying for your food." And but on the other hand, when you're too nice, what happens is you pay for someone's food even though you can't afford to pay for it, right? And that's what Felix Dennis meant, to where you're saying yes to things even though when you should say no to those things. Whether it's meeting up with people, whether it's paying for food, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter in terms of like little things like that, but it's little things like that determine whether or not you accomplish your dreams. And like I said, it's not that you're being mean. It's just that you're being focused. It's a matter of like, look, here's what I'm focused on. And if you're not here, then the answer is no. And a perfect example of this is actually Richard Branson. I remember Richard Branson, someone contacted his office. They were like, "Hey, you want Richard Branson to speak at our event?" And they offered, let's say, $250,000. They're like, "We'll give Richard Branson $250,000 to come speak at our event for 60 minutes. So they get a reply back. They're like, "No, sorry, it's not going to happen." And then they were like, "Okay." So they sent another email back. They're like, "Okay, well, if it's a matter of cost, we can do $500,000 for this. I mean, it's just 60 minutes, like just 60 minutes of his time. He'll get $500,000, right?" So they reply back. The answer is no. They're like, "What?" And so they contact him again. They're like, "Okay, here's how much we can spend all together. We increase the budget. This is the most we can spend. It's $1 million for a 60-minute presentation from Richard Branson. That's what we want. $1 million. Come on now." And so the secretary replied back saying, "Look, it doesn't matter how much you pay. Richard Branson, he's focused on these three things, X, Y, Z. If it's not one of these three things, the answer is no. AKA your speech is not one of those three things, so the answer is no." Richard Branson and a lot of people like him, they're not afraid to come across as mean. They're not afraid to do that, to say no. They're simply not afraid. That is why they are where they are. You can't afford to be nice at times because people are going to take up as much time as you let them, which leaves very little time for your dreams. It leaves very little time for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. That's what he means by that quote of the majority of you are far too nice. And then he says, and comfortable and sensible. And with those, I mean, those are obvious in terms of comfort. Comfort is probably the worst enemy of success ever. The reason why you hear so many rags to riches stories instead of comfort to riches stories is because when you are broke, you're homeless, you know something needs to change. You are willing to do what it takes to change. You're like, dang, I'm living in my car. I mean, I don't even have a place to shower. You know that you got to change when you're at that point. But when you're comfortable, when you're making, let's say 80 grand a year, 100 grand a year, especially like when you're doing 6 figures a year, you're really comfortable. When you're comfortable, you really don't change. You don't see the need to change. There's no urgency behind it. And so comfort is hands down the number one enemy of success. If you are comfortable, that is why you are where you are. If you look at anyone who accomplishes anything, they're never comfortable. Look at Michael Jordan. I mean, if you hear stories about Jordan, they're always talking about how he was never satisfied. It didn't matter how many rings he won. It didn't matter how good he was. It didn't matter how many points he scored. He was never satisfied. Same goes with all the billionaires, Jeff Bezos. You hear it all the time. They had a sense of urgency behind them. It didn't matter how much money they had in their bank account. They were like, we got to get here first. Well, like Bill Gates, he's like, we got to put the computers on everybody's desks first. Jeff Bezos, he's like, we got to start building this online thing called Amazon first, because otherwise someone like Walmart's going to come along, they're going to do it. And so it was a matter of there was no comfort. That's why they were able to get what they want. And then the whole sensible thing that Felix Dennis mentioned, being sensible is one of those things where it's another word for being average. It's another word for going along with the status quo. This is why when you start actually accomplishing what you need to accomplish, people will call you weird, crazy, insane. You hear that all the time with Elon Musk. People call this dude crazy, insane, or whatever. But look at what he's accomplished. Same with someone like Bill Gates. Weird, crazy, quiet, or whatever. Like you'll watch there's a video with him and Ellen DeGeneres, I think, or one of the talk shows, I think it was Ellen DeGeneres. They were playing like a game. It was like a game where he was like trying to guess stuff, and he laughed. He had like this interesting laugh, right? It was like a socially awkward laugh, a point where he shouldn't have laughed as hard as he did or something like that. And I tend to read the comments. When I look at interviews with guys like Bill Gates and stuff, I read the comments about what most people say about him. Most of them were about Bill Gates' laugh, like, oh, socially awkward, weird. And people say that about Mark Zuckerberg. Like if you look at Mark Zuckerberg's congressional hearing, people are like, weird, dude's like a robot, doesn't really react to anything. And same thing with Jeff Bezos and all that, all of them. But I would rather be weird in where they are than normal in where everybody else is. So you have to understand that when Felix Dennis talks about the far majority of you are far too nice and comfortable and sensible, when he's talking about sensible, he's saying in order for you to get what you want, you have to be damn near crazy, like damn near crazy to actually make it happen, because everyone else around you is average. Everyone else is willing to accept the status quo. So when you start going out of that, people are going to say you're weird, crazy, insane, whatever. They're going to have all these secret thoughts about you that they're not going to say to your face, right? And so you have to get to a point where you're just not sensible. You're damn near crazy. You just don't care. Like you don't care. That's why you accomplish what you want to accomplish, right? You can't afford to be average. You can't afford to be in the status quo, because the status quo, it literally just gets you nothing. This is why you see a lot of really successful people. They're always learning. They're always thinking like, how do I get that edge? How do I learn more, do more, be more? They're always trying to learn because they just don't want to be in the status quo. You have to get to a point where you despise the status quo. You despise being average, and you are okay with these people talking about you, because you don't care. You're like, I don't care what the average says about me. I don't care what the average thinks about me, because I'm going to be over here. I simply don't care what these people think. I don't want to be like them, right? You have to operate at that level. You have to think at that level. Self-belief is everything. Whether you have to believe in yourself to a point where you feel like you could damn near do anything. Like that's the start of everything, is a self-belief, to where you feel like you can do anything. You start there. Without self-belief, nothing else matters, right? Self-belief is a thing that you say, I'm the person who can do this, and I'm the person who should do this, and I'm the only person who probably can ever do this. I guarantee you, Bill Gates, when Bill Gates was thinking about, should I basically cure malaria? Should I cure HIV? When Bill Gates was thinking about that, I guarantee he thought to himself, you know what? I'm the only person who can do this. I'm the only person in the world who can do this, who can cure malaria, who can help all these people, damn near cure HIV. Like pretty soon he'll cure HIV. No, there's no doubt in my mind Bill Gates is going to cure HIV. And so it's like, I guarantee he's the only person who thought that. which is why he went to go do it. Because he thought to himself, okay, I'm at the time, he was the richest person in the world. He was like, I'm the richest person in the world right now. And okay, I've obviously got the ambition to do it. Okay, all right. So I guarantee he thought he was the only person who could do it. He was thinking like, the government has been decades since the government has known about this. They're not doing anything about it. So who else can do it? Nobody else can do it. I mean, all these scientists are just smart scientists, but they have no money to fund anything. So he's like, I'm the person who has to do it. It's me. That's how you need to think with your dream. Anything that you're dreaming in terms of what you want to accomplish, building a brand, whatever it is, building any type of business, you have to not only think that you can do it, you have to assume, you have to truly believe that you're the only person who can do it, that you are meant to do it. This is why one of my favorite books is The Hypomanic Edge. And in that book, I think the subtitle is something like, I don't know, something with being crazy and successful. I don't remember subtitle, but the book is called The Hypomanic Edge. And in the book, he talks about how a lot of super successful people not only believe that they're the ones who can do it, but they were sent by God to be the ones to do it. Every single successful person has that personality trait. It's like, I was sent here by God to do that. It's like they think they're damn near Jesus, right? In fact, even Michael Jordan was called Black Jesus, actually. And you have to truly get to that point where the self-belief, it's so strong, it's so powerful that's what actually does it for you. There was an interview with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, the interviewer said, when they say you can't do this, you say, and then Elon Musk said, we've done it. And so I'll say it again. The interviewer, he's like, when they say you can't do this, you say, Elon Musk's like, we've done it. What Elon Musk was basically saying is like, hey, the world was telling Elon Musk, it's not possible to build these rockets like for the amount you're trying to build it for. Rockets cost millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you're trying to build it for hella cheap. It's not possible. That's why we haven't gone back to the moon. That's why we haven't done that stuff, because it costs too much. And Elon Musk is like, nope, I'm going to figure it out. There was another part in that interview with Elon Musk where they were talking about Neil Armstrong. So Neil Armstrong, first guy on the moon stuff. Neil Armstrong, a couple other astronauts. They were saying like, no, we don't think that space travel should be for everybody. It should just be for the astronauts. Like, we don't actually agree with what Elon Musk is doing and stuff. Now, Elon Musk looked up to Neil Armstrong. He looked up to these guys. These were his heroes. And you have your heroes basically saying, nah, what he's doing is wrong. You have your heroes talking bad about you. I mean, think about how that would make you feel. It's one thing for random people to talk bad. It's another for a person that you look up to talk bad about you. I mean, think about how crushed you would be, right? And here's these guys saying to Elon Musk, Neil Armstrong, all these guys saying to Elon Musk, like, nah, you shouldn't do it. It's not possible or whatever. And he did it anyways. His self-belief was so powerful. He's like, all right, they don't believe it. So what? I'm going to do it. And you could actually, if you go to that interview, type in Elon Musk tears, you could see him tearing up. You could literally see tears coming. Well, he almost cried. You could see his eyes like tearing up at the thought of knowing that your hero basically said, no, it's not possible. And no, you shouldn't be doing it, right? On the other hand, Elon Musk's self-belief was so strong that he didn't care. He's like, yes, I can do it. We will do it. Now we've done it. That's how powerful your self-belief needs to be. If the whole world is going against you, you do not care. Of course, it may hurt. I mean, like, hey, I damn near guarantee it hurt Elon Musk. I mean, years later, when they asked him about it, he damn near cried. So it hurt. But your self-belief is so strong that that's what propels you forward. That self-belief is what makes you be so persistent, so ambitious, have that urgency. It's that self-belief inside of yourself. And so that's the point that you need to operate at. That's basically what I wanted to go over today. When I talk with a lot of people in terms of business, marketing, building a brand or whatever, like the Uber drivers and stuff like that, I just see it. I see the mindset that they don't realize they need to have. in order to get what they want. They think it's the tactics and the techniques. They ask about like, all right, so how are you doing the sales funnel and all that sort of stuff? And I keep saying, sure, that stuff, it matters to an extent, but 99% comes down to what's going on in here. 99% of you, well, 100% of you needs to be absolutely obsessed with getting what you want. Absolutely obsessed to the point where you can't do anything and you can't think of anything other than what you want. And you won't let anyone or anything get in your way, whether it's you, somebody else, it doesn't matter. You in terms of you are going to be the biggest barrier to your own success, hands down. Because what's going to happen is you're going to do things like you're going to wake up and not feel like it. You're going to do things like you're going to hear what people are saying about you, your heroes, what they're saying about you. You're going to be like, damn, that sucks. And you may want to cry. Like you may want to cry. But the obsession inside of you is going to be so powerful that you keep doing it anyways. You don't let yourself get in the way. You go to sleep, you cry at night. You're like, damn it, it's not working. I can't figure this out. You're crying at night. You wake up the next morning, you do it anyways. You figure it out. That's what you have to do. You have to operate at an obsessive level with so much self-belief that it's you against the world. You against the world, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, you don't care because you're like, I will die before I ever give up. And it can't be one of those things where it's a motivational quote to you. It has to be your life. It has to be how you think, who you are. That's how you need to operate. So what does it take to get what you want? It takes everything. Everything is what it takes. All right. That is all I have for today. So let me end this on Instagram here. Cool. So that's all I have for today. We are doing the Facebook Lives Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we'll talk more tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So thanks everybody for showing up. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Take care, everybody.